Hey everybody, welcome to Coffee with John. Looking forward to talking with Oz Konar. Oz, it's been a few years since you've been on the show, so it's good to see you again. Thanks for taking time to be on. You are the founder and CEO of Business Lending Blueprint, largest education platform and community for business loan brokers, over 5,000 active business loan brokers. All right, so it sounds like your business model is for people who are looking to kind of start their own business. They go out and find small businesses that are looking for loans, and then facilitate that to happen with the lenders that they work with. Did I summarize that pretty easily?
Nailed it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is kind of probably an entrepreneurial lane that I think a lot of people maybe haven't thought about, right? Because you just got to have an instinct to go out and market yourself and find businesses who need money. Then you have to connect them with a lender that will actually provide the money. Do you need to have a license to do this?
No, lenders are required to have a license, but
The lenders are, but
yeah.
but the person that's
No.
right. Okay, and so this is kind of an interesting model. I don't know if people have really thought that this could be an option, right?
Yeah.
I don't need a license. The lender that I'm using does, and I want to start a business giving out money to businesses that need it. Of course, they have to pass the qualifications of through a lender and things of that nature. This isn't free
Sure.
money. But talk to the person right now who's thinking whether they want a side business, whether they're looking to start a business. Maybe the franchise model isn't for them. Starting something on their own isn't for them. Why would this be a fit for them?
Yeah, good question. We deal with two types of audience. One, like you said, entrepreneurial type, always wanted to do something. Maybe they tried a couple of things and they couldn't find the right fit. At the end of the day, the business model is super simple. We're into alternative lending. So like you mentioned, when someone thinks
Well,
of business
define alternative lending. Does that mean
Yeah.
like high interest rates, or what do you mean alternative?
Could be, or the deals that the banks will not touch because of the size of the business or the lack of documentation, right? So take startup, for example, right? We have startup funding options, which is basically qualifying them for a few different 0% interest credit cards. Banks do not really have a true startup funding option. So alternative meaning alternative to the bank funding. We're not in competition with the banks. If you're a business loan broker working for the bank, that's a whole different arena, right? But traditionally, banks provide funding to larger businesses, like they require tax returns, some kind of collateral. Our funding options, for the most part, is non-collateralized, meaning that you're not going to put up your house, car, your equipment, or anything like that. You need capital either. And going back to the interest question, yes, it could be high interest or it doesn't have to be, right? If you're getting a business line of credit, you're an established business, you want to have some money for tough times as in the form of line of credit, that's not necessarily expensive. But if you're telling me I need money like yesterday, that form will be expensive. So we train the brokers on about 12 different funding options, and we have the lenders that back it up. So they, like you said, they're a facilitator. They're like the, I don't know, finance matchmaking people.
Yeah.
The person who's looking for funding, find out why they couldn't get it, because some businesses do not want to provide their tax returns or their sensitive information, right? Most of the funding options, we look at the business itself, not so much all the other assets that they might or they might not have. Alternative lending exists because there's a demand for it. Like in the US, there's about 37 million businesses. Most of them are in the very small business category, right? 1 to 10 employees. They might be making like 10 to 50K a month. And those people need small types of funding, right? It could be 30,000, 50,000, 100,000. If they have been in business for a while, like a year, we also have like SBA, Small Business Administration backed funding, right? So these are like the least expensive form of funding you can get. It requires more work. Also covers the emergencies if someone needs capital. So the brokers are trained on basically like looking around, like someone who needs funding is all around you. If you want to go that route, or we teach them structured ways of generating consistent leads of people who are looking for capital.
What are those ways? I mean, I think, you're talking about 37 million small businesses. it seems to me that there's a lot more people starting small businesses today with technology, with AI, with software that's very economical to purchase, to run a business. I think people are. I'm seeing more of that. Are you seeing a growth in that space?
Explosive growth on
Yeah.
new LLC registrations, like people starting business. That doesn't mean that they're running the business and generating revenue, but there's a massive amount of interest. And this, I mean, this
Can you
US,
quantify massive? Can you quantify do you have a piece of data on that?
yeah, before the pandemic, it used to be about 1,000 new businesses a day registered. Now it's over 3,000 a day. So what pandemic did is people, all their defense was like, yeah, but I have a secure job, Oz. Like, I get paid every week, every 2 weeks. Then pandemic shut down and people got furloughed or they got let go. That
Yeah.
kind of fear set in that, wait a second, my job might not be as as safe, and that created a massive wave, and it hasn't come down a lot from it, honestly. Then now we have the AI boom. Everyone above 35 is questioning the future of their job, basically. And many people are creating AI first businesses or integrating AI into their businesses, right? So that's one.
Define AI first for people who don't know what that means.
Well, they're using AI tools to start agencies, for example. They go to John saying, John, you're doing a podcast. What if you use my tool for $100 a month? So it fully transcribes it and it gives you cues and tips as to how you can improve it, type of thing, right? Yeah. There are a lot of businesses starting that way. Instead of starting a software company, they're providing quick solutions to small businesses who might not need a Salesforce.com account, right? But they need like automated answering service, AI booking tools, and things like that. So we're seeing a boom on that end, especially from the younger people, especially with the vibe coding, right? You can basically type the code versus knowing code. So we're seeing a big impact on those. Although there's a lot of fear mongering, oh, AI is gonna take us over. I think people who are entrepreneurial are like, all right, this is happening. What do I do with this? It's similar to the analogy when the internet, Amazon first was founded. Every small business said that Amazon is going to put us out of business. It did, some of them, but a lot of people just created online businesses to sell stuff on Amazon. So we're seeing a similar shift, but obviously this is a bigger wave than the internet, in my opinion. Yeah.
I've talked about Amazon on the show, and people say, well, there's a lot of jobs that have been lost, and I'm not taking away from that
Sure.
and all of that, but it's also created, a massive amount of opportunity and careers and jobs, and enormous wealth for so many people.
And a skill set, right? Being able to do stuff online to generate. Yeah.
And I think sometimes, we're looking at the landscape. We do have a personal responsibility to learn new skills, right?
Yes.
The only, change is a constant. And so, I always encourage people, clients, and on the show, spend 1 to 5 minutes a day growing your skill set. In this case, understand AI, understand how to, do things online, because you got to stay in front of the curve. I want to talk about the LLCs for a minute. 1,000 a day registered before the pandemic, and 3,000, give or take, every day since. So of the 3,000, so do you have any data on how many actually become businesses?
SBA and Labor Bureau tracks only the LLCs.
Yeah.
And then I think they just sent, literally yesterday, they're trying to pass a law to redefine what is small business and mid-sized business, because all that data is very archaic. The way they used to define small business is anyone under like 50 employees. Now we know that there are companies who are making like 10 million a year with 5 employees, right? It's not valid. That data is more like industrial revolution era thing.
Right, totally changed.
Yeah, it's totally changed now. They're trying to adjust to that. So what we care about is, even if you don't have an LLC, like there was a stat that I read, 70% of the US adults at some point thought about starting their own business. And then the reason they didn't is that they just, didn't know how to go about it. They didn't have the funds. Like, let's say you want to start a food truck business. Well, you need a food truck and you need to go buy it and finance it and things like that. You need an equipment. Things like this have become a lot diversified, like the resources, like you can do equipment financing. When I got started in the industry 10 years ago, you literally didn't have a lot of options, honestly, to start. You would need to borrow from friends and family. Bank wouldn't lend you money, right? Unless you already had money in the bank account type of thing. Now we look at those businesses. All right, that's like a startup type of funding option. Since there's no revenue for the most part, we provide the funding option based on the personal credit score. Someone who has like 680 and above, for the most part, we're able to qualify them for something anywhere from 10,000 all the way up to 150,000. It's like a sweet spot for what has changed since I started in the industry.
Yeah.
There is true startup options.
So a couple things. 3,000, I just want to recap this. 3,000 LLCs registered a day is the number.
That's a day. Yes, crazy.
And we're talking about just the United States, correct?
Okay. Yes, just this is only US
only US. So if we round up, that's 1.1 million a year.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say, for the sake of discussion, 10% of those become a business. Right? And a majority of those, right? It used to be the stat. I remember when I started in business, I'm going to be 54. When I started out of college, I was 23. And the number there was, for every 10 people, you need to be making $1 million. So if you went into a company and they said, we have 50 employees. Well, how much money are you making? $1 million. Well, then you're backwards. Right. So today you can have a one-person company and making way over $1 million.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So now we have these 1.1 million LLCs, much of which are small businesses starting out. Let's say, you mentioned, 35 and adults, but let's say a lot of kids, even out of college in their mid to late 20s, early 30s, are starting a business, but they don't have the balance sheets to get the lending that they need, but they have the idea. They have the passion, the vision, the documentation, the people, the resources. Is that who your company also gives loans to?
We have a lot of younger people that we provide.
I'm going to categorize them real quickly as, I don't mean to interrupt you, the gritty dreamers who have hustle and grit and are really working 8 to 10 plus hours a day to make that dream become a reality. What does the lender look at when they don't have a balance sheet, just somebody with a lot of talent and passion and drive?
Well, we look at the credit score, personal, and if it is weak or there's not much there, they can have co-signers. Like a lot of parents are co-signing for their kids. They don't have to.
Okay, wait, back for 1 second. For 1 second. How can somebody start getting a good credit score from birth?
They can't. That's the thing. You need some kind of depth in there.
When is the earliest somebody can get a credit to start growing their credit score?
Well, 18 and above. That's why like financial literacy is super important. Even if you're in college, like if you have a cell phone bill under your father, transfer it under your name. Correct. If your father could still be paying the bills.
That's what I want to tell. Right. Yeah. Get a credit card in your name,
100%.
Even if it's a monthly magazine subscription.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But
does not matter.
That's what I really wanted to get to, Oz.
No, love that. Yeah, that's really important.
Building credit. This is all for, if you're a parent, get your kids a credit card at 18 years old and start really just kind of building their credit score. Okay, so now fast forward their credit score.
Yes. So any bills you can put under yourself, car payments, like your dad or mom could still be paying it initially. If you're 19, 20, your insurance will be a little higher and things like that. But it's a good starting point. It's good to bite the bullet and try to get a credit card from like credit unions, not from your Chase or PNC Bank and things like that, because you're a lot more likely to get a higher limit from those banks than the big banks, because big banks is a computer algorithm underwriting, right? If your father has a credit union bank account, you can go ahead and open an account, checking account for yourself. So do those little things and you'd be surprised. And in a year to 2 years, we would be able to fund you. It might not be 150K, but honestly, most people with this technology, they really do not need Silicon Valley or Shark Tank type of money, right? They just need a little bit of fuel, like 10, 20, 30K.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because, the last thing you want to do when you get money is all of a sudden get a ping pong table, a Coke machine, right? You still want to run as if you have no money, and be very conscious of all expenses, right? What's the best way to run a business? You focus on profitability, understand margins, and always be looking and cutting expenses. Right. I mean, there's a lot of other things that we can talk about as far as culture, but having the amount of money and revenue that you can actually run the business, right, the next morning and, for the future. And so I just want to kind of talk about, based on what you just said, right? Just because somebody gives you $150,000, it's like Venmo money. It's not, it feels free, but it's not.
It's not.
And
Yeah.
you have to spend, you have to be smart, and you have to be wise, and you have to be very, very conscious of what you spend. Talk a little bit about that and how you look at, monitor, track, and always look to shave your expenses.
Yeah, John, you started businesses, I started businesses, right? Especially for
Correct.
people starting out. The goal shouldn't be getting funding, right? The goal should be getting the proof of concept on your business idea that it works without funding. So I highly recommend people to use ChatGPT, Google, whatever, to invest in the skill set, if they don't have it, on marketing and sales. Can you sell your product without it? Like, is there a buyer? Otherwise, having a plan on paper, like Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face, right?
Right. I love that. I love that quote, because if you've been in business long enough, or
you know that, like, it's true.
You're like, well, I didn't think of that one. Right. Yeah.
Because we see a lot of plans. If this happens, if that happens, I'm like, buddy, like 12 things needs to happen for you to make money. That's kind of excessive. You're hoping all of that goes wrong. And business follows Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will probably go wrong, right? It's not like a job, right? So that's my advice to people. Like, have the proof of concept. Sell the dang product. Go out there and talk to people so you can see that, oh, they're buying. Okay, first of all, that's a good sign. If they're not buying, is it a pricing problem? You got to know your cost of goods, like being sold. Like, how much does it cost? Whatever it is, whether it's a service or a physical product, right? So when we see a plan that looks like too glamorous, like our goal is to make $2 million a year. We're like, how many? Like, go back and watch some Shark Tank, not to get money from them, but the questions they ask. How much of that have you sold? What is the cost? What is your profit margin?
What have you sold? Right. So how much have you sold? All right. So let me ask you a question. So somebody starts a business. They say, I want to get, a family and friends round of 20, 30,000. And then I'm going to start getting a seed round of, $50,000 to $100,000. Is it better for them to do that? Or is it better for them to just get a loan, bet on themselves, and invest and kind of keep the full percentage of the company?
Honestly, it's a very personal question. If your friends and family are entrepreneurial, they're going to understand. But if you're taking your dad's saving of 35 years and he's never started a business, you might not have a dad a year from now, because that's going to come down to that, right? I personally always bootstrap because I don't come from an entrepreneurial family. So even if I try to have discussions, they wouldn't really understand what I'm talking about, right? So to be an entrepreneur requires you to be a little on the crazy end, like when no one sees what is possible, you're able to see it. But at the same time, you got to be a little realistic. So if you come from a background of friends and family who are entrepreneurial, I think that's a better option, that you tell them your plan as if you're pitching it to an investor, borrow money. If you don't have that circle right now, first of all, change your circle, like go to networking events and things like that and meet other business owners, because what you're missing out is probably the knowledge gap on how to think like a business owner, especially if you have a couple of years of corporate experience. The thinking of a business owner is completely different than what you're trained on to do your job, right? So it requires some level of transformation, and you might not get it from your friends and family, right? So that's the risk that you have to like kind of look around and assess and decide, all right, so if I'm going to raise capital, what is the better option? But however, either way, I can't say this enough times, like you got to have the proof of concept. You can't hide behind somebody else's money because you're afraid to sell or market. You think if I only had like 50K, everything would be great. I can tell that it won't. Like it's still you're gonna have, like you said, you're gonna have to pay it back. It's not like free money.
Not free money. Yeah. But sometimes I think it is, if you're willing to bet on yourself and you can keep your company, right? There's a lot of benefits to that. There's a lot of benefits to that. Yeah.
Unless you're building like a technology platform and you need partnerships. I'm not against partnerships. Like maybe you're amazing at sales, but you don't have any skills and technology, and you have a buddy of yours who's been building apps. That could be a good combination then, because then you take yourself, if your sales skill is 8, your developer skill is 1, for you to go from 1 to 8, might just kill that business, because time is so essential in business, right? You can't kind of take your time to figure stuff out most of the time, especially in this day and age when things are moving super fast.
Yeah, I think though you got to be really careful on who you take as a business partner,
100%.
and you don't. It's not a desperate move. It's got to, in my opinion, it's got to happen very organically and be in full alignment. And if
Hmm.
it's 0.01% off, it's going to end up somewhere down the line, not the way you want it to be.
No.
And
Especially when there's money involved, John. When
correct, when there's
before
money in
there's no money, John and I
there.
will be great friends, and we generate the first $100,000. Then Oz might say, "John, I put in more work than you did. Like, what's
Right,
going on here?" This
right,
is when the divergence starts happening, but it's
correct.
very difficult to foresee that before money is involved.
Yeah,
Everyone is happy at a startup culture until
right.
you generate your first. Like, you've seen cases where the big companies have been split up because things were amazing at the first, all the
Right.
excitement and the rush and all that stuff. And then the customers start coming in. Everyone feels a little different. People change quite fast when there's money involved.
Well, yeah, and then and then, so if it's not a great partnership and everything's locked up, that's another episode. As far as the documentation to get in place and to unravel that with the wrong partner
Oh,
is the worst. And if you have an idea, then that idea to me is a sacred idea until you find the perfect business partner. I don't even mean to over exaggerate the word perfect, but it's got to be an alignment where it's a full collaboration. I'm a business coach. I have my own business. I have
sure.
another company where I do have a business partner, and we've been doing something for 3 years, and it's full alignment. It happened organically. It wasn't forced, and I think that's the key. Okay, I want to talk to you about. So you're in the business of kind of growing your platform, and I'm assuming looking for people to, kind of take the lead and start this kind of business, this blueprint business to be looking for companies. I was doing a little bit of research this morning. I filled out your online, form. Got to the video. Within an hour, I get a call. Somebody asking me about the blueprint. I've gotten multiple texts. I said to the guy who called me, I said, "Oh, I'm interviewing Oz in a couple hours." He said, "Okay, I'll take it off the list." Da da da. But but it was great, and what I loved about it was just the system is in place because the shelf life is very short. Even in the time that he called, I almost forgot that I even filled out the form.
Yeah.
People's shelf life is very short. So I just want to kind of, compliment you on the great follow-up.
Thank you.
Who are you looking for to grow your business? Who is the ideal candidate that you're looking for? Who is the listener who is listening right now thinking, this sounds like I could do something like this?
Yeah, someone who's actually like, if someone is looking for an entrepreneurial opportunity because they don't like their boss, probably not a good fit, right? Maybe get a new boss. But someone who's like truly entrepreneurial, they want to make a change. That's like the first audience. The second one is honestly existing businesses who are doing what they're doing, but they're not offering funding. So it's like an add-on funding option. We see that a lot with bankers, mortgage people, accountants. They already deal with the businesses who are looking for funding, and
Yeah.
they usually tell, go online and fill out some forms. You can add funding to your existing business without becoming a business loan broker, because we handle the back end anyways, right? So all you have to do is just, hey, it seems like you're looking for a funding. We have this platform. You can go check it out to see if you qualify for something. Those are the two types of people. The add-on people,
Yeah.
they get results a lot faster because they have the customer base. It can be an email blast saying that,
Right.
hey, this is John. I started adding some funding options. We work with the funding partners. Check it out. Versus the other person starting and building a career out of this, which is what I had done, right? From all the way from telemarketing to cold calling and things like that. And noticing that this is a horrible way to grow the business. We got to use online a little more. I invested in learning online marketing. What you witness, like you fill out a form, someone calls, we train our members on things like that, like how to grow a business. Because like you said, leads are only hot for a very short amount of time. Then people forget.
An hour, maybe an hour. Wait, so Oz, it seems to me also somebody who wants to get into this business, it's very low startup. There doesn't seem to be a startup cost to this much.
Correct. You don't need to buy technology, CRM. Our program has a cost, but we have options to get in, but you don't need to go through like a licensing phase, at least at this stage, right? Over time, who knows? But for now, Yeah, so you're not going out there and hiring people. You don't need to get an office. Like I'm working from the office, and most of my network is working from their home office.
I'm hesitant to ask people what the cost is because somebody could listen to this in 5 years, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't really like talking about things that shift, but where can they learn about the investment?
So we do a demo call for them to check out, and depends on their level of involvement. If someone comes in and says, "I'm gonna become a 360-degree broker. I want to learn everything about it." That's different than someone saying, "I just want to refer some people. I know people. I come across people. I'm not really interested in learning all the funding options." That's a much lighter investment. It could be $100 a month versus someone who wants to make a career change, because that requires obviously a lot of training on our part. Our team is
Yeah.
like 35 people, and we provide coaching calls and things like that.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay, so how does somebody like you get in a business like this, right? I don't mean somebody like you, but like, how does this happen? Who is a mentor that, maybe gave you a piece of advice that, you said you don't come from an entrepreneurial background. You're doing something very entrepreneurial. Who was a mentor that planted a seed early in your life that is still kind of, you know, sprouting today in your career?
I would say I didn't have this grand goal of saving humanity. I was trying to solve my problem because I kind of grew up poor. So I noticed that after college, I was still poor. I'm like, something is off with this. Learned that learning sales was the way to go. So I started selling stuff, right? Then it was another business loan broker through networking told me, "Hey, dude, you're hustling, you're doing a lot of things, but have you thought about like referring the customer base that you have?" At the time, I was working
Yeah.
with restaurants, selling them credit card machines and payroll systems. It was like, you have the perfect customers. If you want, we can partner up and you can refer them to me, and I can pay you a referral fee, right? And
Yeah.
I thought it was going to pay me like $100, $200. My first check was like $4,000. That kind of got the bug in me, thinking,
Like,
I
wait, I
gotta
don't think
be.
I'm poor anymore.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, I
The
never
road
seen
to
that kind
riches.
of
Yeah.
check to my full name. Like, never happened before. I'm usually chasing $100, $150 here and there. And if I had a $500 day, I'd be like, oh my God, we made a lot of money today. At a time like that, this guy showed me, and it was like quite accidental. I was just pushing hard, trying to solve my own issues, so I don't carry that, like what my family dealt with for like generations, basically. Like, oh, we're just a low income, money doesn't grow on trees, and you just work hard, and only the big people make money, type of thing. All of those belief systems needed to be broken down. And that happened by just coming across the right people who said, you know what, you can do something different. My advice is that no matter what you're doing, you got to kind of understand finance a little bit, right? I'm not saying you should be a business loan broker, but
Yeah.
like you and I spoke earlier, like financial literacy, understanding how credit works, debt works. Like if all your advice is coming from Dave Ramsey of cutting credit cards down, you're not going to go far as an entrepreneur. You will be okay to save money as an employee, but you got to kind of watch out where you're getting your advice from. If your goal is to become a millionaire, but you're talking about cutting down on your Netflix and Starbucks, those are like very conflicting thoughts.
Right. I will say though, I think Dave Ramsey has great content. I think his books are
I
great,
love
and
him too.
yeah, I think he's great. So I just want to give him proper kudos because I think he's doing a lot for people to
But I
think
think I want
differently.
people to understand, John, that they focus on how he's running his business. He did an episode I highly recommend people to watch, where Alex Hormozi was interviewing Dave Ramsey on how he runs his business, right? So that's
Yeah.
an amazing episode for you to see both sides of like what he's teaching. I think people only focus on short, saying, oh, pay down and just save. If you're making 50K, just
Right.
save
Right.
more
Right.
money. But that's not the full picture of what he's saying, right? Because if you don't control your finances, it's going to ruin you. But he's not saying don't go and make more money, right? That's not what he's saying, because he's a multimillionaire himself.
We are one of
Right. Right. All right. And I'll put a link to that episode. Are you talking about which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the one from 2025 or 2023?
I think 2023, they did like a really in-depth. That was the first time that I truly
How to get
admired his
rich.
business brain.
How to get
Yeah,
rich. Yeah,
right.
I'll put that in the notes. Both of those guys, Alex, Dave, I love them both. I think they're great.
Yes.
But again, it's like anything, start studying and learn a little bit from everybody and take what, maybe their special piece of that is. So I think it's great. Couple things. I want to go back to something. 3,000 LLCs a day, almost close to 1.1 million.
Mm-hmm.
How easy is it to get access to that public information?
Not that easy because it's control at the state level. You can pull it from the state level.
The
You
LARA
need to
website.
export it and things like that. That's if you're doing like raw cold outreach, right? We
Yeah.
don't really recommend. The easiest way to find those people is like going to Chamber of Commerce, networking events, free Facebook groups. Like,
Mhm.
if you're focusing on a niche, there are millions of Facebook groups that you don't have to pay anything. Go there and someone says, I just set up my LLC. What do I do next, right?
Yeah.
Or I need like 10K. So otherwise, if you go through the route of trying to get the new formed businesses, it's a hassle. And some states allow you to just buy the list, others don't, and things like that. That's not as simple.
Yeah. No. Okay, good. I just wanted to kind of highlight that because I think somebody may be thinking that right now,
Mhm.
right? And so there's a business plan to this. Nothing like anything, nothing is easy.
No.
I think, someone may be listening to this and saying, well, that's easy. It's not easy. You still have to treat it
No.
like running a full business. You got to
And
run
just
it
because
as
they formed the LLC, John, that doesn't mean they're looking for funding, right? I rather focus on people who are out there who are like looking to improve, because there are many LLCs. I think this goes back to that saying that you probably heard it. Oh, 85% of the businesses fail within the first year. That is very skewed. Actually, not true. I think it's taking basis of how many people start an LLC versus how many people are still in business. The true number of people who are generating their first dollar, the success rate is about 54%. So I used to use that stat myself, saying that 85% of the businesses fail within first year. I said, I keep saying this. I heard it from someone, but is it actually true? And I looked it up. It's like not really true. Like depends on how you look at the numbers.
So what's the stat that is that you pull?
I don't quote me on this. As far as I remember, it was like businesses not only just formed their LLC but generated their first dollar at the end of their 12-month cycle. 54% of them are still in business, and they're generating revenue, right? Which is a way different number than saying only 15% survive, because some of them didn't even start. They just have the tax ID number.
All right, I like it. Okay, so in summary, you're the type of client that you're looking for. Right. The type of client you're looking for to be part of Business Lending Blueprint is
people who want to become a business loan broker. They're looking for an entrepreneurial path, or people who are in business and they're not offering funding to their existing customer and they see a fit. Like the customers are asking them, hey, John, how do I get more capital? Do you know anyone who can get me? Those are the two types of avatars that we target and we do really well with.
Awesome. Can somebody make 6 figures?
Potentially, yeah. So we have people who are making 40, 50K a month, 100K a month. But as you go through those stages, we have our members break down their goals in 3 categories. The first thing is, what is the bare minimum that you need to make right now? Someone tells us, oh, Oz, I want to quit my job. All right, cool. How much are you making right now? 60K. So for you to quit your job, you need to replace your income first, right?
Right.
Yeah, they say, but yeah, I want to make $1 million. Yeah, but first we got to hit the first milestone. You can't go from 0 to $1 million immediately. Then the next goal is the objective. Like when you reach that level, what is the next level? I want to be making 10, 15K a month. Okay, cool. And then every goal, like I literally talked to someone who joined. He works with hedge funds. That guy's goal is to take this business to $500,000 a month. Obviously, the plan is going to follow. Is going to be much different than someone who wants to make some side income, right? So we customize the plan based on that.
Yeah, and you have the plan for them to follow.
Absolutely, yeah, because we have 7,000 members. I can say that we've seen it all, like different types of goals, and from retired, people to single moms to true entrepreneurs who exited 5 times and things like that. So we asked them the honest question, realistically, not a pie in the sky number. What are you expecting to get out of this in the next 90 days? And if there's no alignment, if their expectation is like out of this world, we'll tell them, hey, buddy, probably not a good fit, because this is a real business. Like you still need to submit deals, fund deals, and there's a math, right? Average funded deal pays $2,000 to $4,000 in commissions. So if you're going to make 10K, you need like 4 funded deals, right? Yeah. For that to happen, then we kind of reverse engineer it, right? Then you probably need to submit 10 people who are interested. For you to get 10 people, you probably need to talk to 50 people. And if we split it across the month, that means you're going to need to connect with 2-3 people a day. Are you okay with that plan? Oh, no, I don't want to talk to people, or I want to automate. And we're like, what's the plan then? Like we can give you, do you have someone who can help you with that? Or are you just going to be behind the scenes type of boss using online tools to do it? We structure the whole thing for them to set up a realistic expectation,
Yeah. If you don't plan, you plan to fail, right?
No, yeah. And if anyone tells you, oh yeah, in 90 days guaranteed to make 15K, stay away. Business doesn't
Yeah,
work
I
that
don't
way.
get any of that. Everything is hard work. Everything is hard work. All right.
Yes.
Quick question. If you could have coffee with anybody, who would it be
Mm.
and why?
For now, it would be Alex or Mosey. Because I recently got coach from him. I know people say Elon Musk and stuff like that, but I want to have coffee with people who are where I want to be, right? I have no ambition to becoming a trillionaire. So if I want to make as much money or grow an organization as healthy as is, that will be him. Just because I have specific questions to ask him about the next phase of our business.
I think Alex is great. And if you have coffee with him, I want to come. I want to be a trillionaire too. So let's invite me to that coffee. A book that has made a big impact on you, Oz.
Very early on, Think and Grow Rich, like shaped my thinking. I was
Napoleon
thinking the
Hill.
wrong way.
Should be a must read. Should be a must read for everybody. I love that book. One of the very first books I ever read when I was 18. Yeah.
A lot of the books after that, John, is like a copycat of like iteration of it. So go to the source. You're not going to relate to everything he's saying because that book is like, I don't even know, 50, 60 years old, but the fundamentals, principles do not change.
Right. And if you read it, like there was a time, I haven't read it in a bit, but there was a time I was reading it like I felt like 5 years.
Wow.
Every time I felt like I was at a different stage, I would read it and it would be like, reading a new book because you just get new things based on the next phase that you're in.
Yeah.
Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Take imperfect action. Don't wait until you figure everything out. You will not figure everything out. And time is flying. Just take action, even if you know that you don't know everything, because there's no better learning than immersing yourself while you're mastering a skill set instead of passively studying it.
One person you would say thank you to that you're grateful for a piece of advice they gave you, and what was that piece of advice?
I would say the college professor that I was consulting, I did double major biology and chemistry in my last year. I said, hey, this is awesome, but it's not going to make money for me unless I go to medical school and I'm broke. I can't go to medical school. I'm going to go into sales. And he said that you will never succeed in sales. So I'm thankful for him to put that fire in my belly, telling me that I will never succeed. And he literally said, you can't succeed because your name is weird. You're not from this country and you're studying biology. Like, we're boring people. I'm like, okay. Thank you. Yeah. I'll fast forward today. I'm thankful for that advice.
Right. So was that a soul agreement? Is he the hero because was he the guide, or because he gave you the edge, or was he just being an asshole?
He was not. I think given when he looked at me at the time based on my skill set, I think that was an accurate assessment. I don't think he was trying to be an asshole. He looked at me probably. This guy barely can form sentences and has a thick accent and is talking about being in sales. And I was asking the wrong guy for the advice. Like, it's a lot on me. You're asking a biology professor if I should be in sales. I don't think he would be like, oh my God, you should be because I've done great. Like, he's not a sales guy, right? So I don't think it's anything personal, but it clearly defined where I was and what I needed to do. That kind of propelled me to keep thinking about it for nights. Then it made me invest into sales coaching, marketing coaching. So I didn't hate on him. I'm like, why would an adult say something like that to an 18, 19-year-old? And it was anger first. And it's like, maybe he's not that wrong. Maybe I'm not ready for it just yet.
But he gave you the chip and the edge you needed to maybe dig within you, right? And see what he didn't see, what he couldn't see. Yeah. So, I think sometimes we have those guides in our lives that give us that something that plants, that allow us to see something in ourselves that maybe we couldn't see until somebody that we ask doesn't see it. So I think I love that story. On the flip side, I just want to highlight one thing that I see a lot. Be careful who you take advice from, right? Like, I mean, that story worked out and that was a great story and probably had a deeper purpose universally in your life. But there's also a lot of people that just go to the wrong people for advice. And so I just want to throw that out. I think it's important. Don't go to the hardware store to buy milk, right? So it's all right. Any closing thoughts, Oz?
No, man, I love your show. It was great to be back again. But yeah, so my one advice to people is don't be afraid to be entrepreneurial. I think that's the next phase of what's happening. And then either you choose a path to improve those skill set, people skills, sales skills, or you might be forced to do so. So it's better that you kind of use this as like a wake up call and start investing in yourself.
Amen. Amen. I have a podcast that I did 133 episodes with my buddy called the 7-Minute Sales Minute. And it's like a master's class of just sales, and people love it. It was great. We had a blast doing it. It's been a while since we did our last episode. We did just 133, and then it just kind of felt like it was done. I think growing your sales skills today is a must, no matter where you are. 100%. I think it's great. All right. So your website can be found at businesslendingblueprint.com. Mine can be found at johndwoskin.com. Oz, this was great. Stay on for a minute. We can catch up. And coffee community, if Oz can help you, reach out. If I can help you, please reach out. Thanks, man. This was great.
Thank you.